For several years now, our society is getting more and more knowledgeable about climate change and its effects on our planet. But did you know it also has an effect on our mental health? Four scientific experts by the name Jessica Fritz, Grant Blaschke, Susie Burke, and John Wiseman carefully articulated what climate change is doing to our mental health and our overall well-being for the International Journal of Mental Health Systems. Before we delve too deep into this topic, we must set the groundwork. What is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects the way we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress. Mental health is very important at every age of our lives, from childhood to adulthood. Many factors contribute to mental health problems, including biological, such as genes or our brain chemistry, life experiences such as trauma or abuse, as well as family history of mental health problems. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 1 in 5 people will personally experience mental health problems or illnesses, affecting people of all ages, education, income, and cultures. To put into perspective, reports suggest 20% of youth ages 12 to 19 are affected. By age 40, about half of the population will have experienced mental health illnesses. Mental health increases suicide rate by 43%. In Canada, suicide is second among the leading causes of death among youth, causing 4,000 premature deaths each year. Now that we've discussed the severity of mental health, let's dive into how climate change is affecting the way we function. This article breaks down the emerging concerns about the relationships between climate change and our mental health into 3 categories. The direct impacts, this can be short-term as well as long-term, impacts on the vulnerable community, and emotional distress and anxiety created about the future. Contrary to certain presidents and their views, currently there is scientific consensus that global warming is happening, and there are thousands and thousands of papers and articles proving it. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, they estimate the current global warming is to be 0.8 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels, and they project it will only continue rising in the upcoming decades. There are numerous observable evidence of global warming. Some examples are extreme weather events seen all around the world, increased temperatures, spread of vector-borne diseases, poor air quality as well as illnesses associated, the changes in our food and water quality as well as its availability. This paper spends a lot of time talking about one of the main direct impacts of climate change, and that is extreme weather-related events. On the screen, you're seeing some weather-related events, such as blizzards, snowstorms, tropical storms, hurricanes, floods, droughts. Extreme weather-related events are likely to act as immediate impacts on our mental health. They act both long-term and short-term. Some examples are loss of lives, financial property, displacement, and a lower quality of life overall. Financial hardship related to climate change may result from reduced income and employment in climate-sensitive industries such as agriculture and tourism. There's going to be a loss of assets, and the recovery cost for extreme weather events or relocation results in an increase to the cost of essential goods and services. In addition, the rapid reconstruction of intensive industries such as power generation, agriculture, and heavy industries presents a significant challenge for mental health through the potential loss of of employments in these industries, especially in low-skilled or regional forces with few employment alternatives. For Indigenous communities living in climate vulnerable areas, climate change may pose an additional mental health impact associated with the disruption of their traditional practices, damage to significant cultural sites, as well as long term potentially relocating or assimilating to the general population. Displacement as a result of climate change and its extreme weather related events. This increases the likelihood of cultural and racial discrimination received by a given community. It also acts as a risk factor for negative mental health outcomes. This is especially likely for immigrants that are seen as a cultural threat or even competition for natural or economic resources. For that given group of people, they have a lower quality of life in comparison to what they once had. For vulnerable communities, the same struggles apply. However, the challenges are multiplied as there is evidence of an increasing trend of the likelihood of violence and crimes happening in the given area post extreme weather related hazard or some sort of disaster, causing a decrease in economic wealth. This population shows a higher rate of post-traumatic stress disorder. Children often exhibit more severe distress after a disaster than adults do. With the vast amount of information out there, for many people, the resulting emotions are commonly distress and anxiety. Sometimes, if the information is too unsettling, the solutions seem too difficult, people can cope by minimizing or denying that there even is a problem, by avoiding it and becoming cynical. We know what many of the solutions are, and there are various actions we can take as citizens, either individually or collectively, to make a difference on a local or global platform. When people are given a solution, it is much better to move forward towards a sense of empowerment rather than despair and hopelessness. With that being said, let's be part of the solution.